Alright guys, day 7, and let's talk about Mausoleum, which is a 1983 horror movie that I did not expect to love as much as I did. This one, I just the art alone, the picture right here really did pull me into this movie because I love whenever they have old 70s or 80s horror movies, especially with their posters, artwork. Is like really incredible in a lot of their posters that they were with horror movies that were made in the 70s and 80s, and this one is no exception. The artwork to this is really incredible. I really love that, so that pulled me into the movie immediately. And the plot of this movie is that this character, Susan, her mom dies and she's distraught. She goes into a mausoleum and gains evil green eyes and is possessed by a demon, and then 10 years pass and now she's wrecking havoc. It was so hilarious. This movie blew me away with how funny it was. I know in a lot of ways people will be like, oh, it's really terrible, but I thought this was so enjoyable. This was such a fun movie. Again, like, she gets possessed, and it's just one of those movies where she gets possessed, starts killing people, and it's also one of those movies where all these actors in this movie have dialogue that they say, but they don't have anything, like, they have no emotion in the dialogue. There's, like, for example, there's a line where one character says, "I have hesitated to show anyone this diary, even you." Like, lines like that, how I just said that is how most of these actors say these lines in this movie. It's like they're reading off of a paper, kind of like I am, but I'm doing a better job at it than they are, funny enough. But it cracks me up that, like, the dialogue in this, they just, every time they say something, it's very much like, oh, I'm looking at something off screen, repeating this dialogue. It cracks me up and made it even more funnier. Now, I mentioned the green eyes. Whenever she gets possessed, she has these green eyes, and I'll have it on the thumbnail where she's got big green pupils, and like she's just, whenever she goes demon, she has green pupils. And it is so funny. It's so cartoony with the eyes that they look. It is so hilarious. And besides the funny fact of this movie, besides the hilariousness of this, I thought that this actually had some really good gore. And by the end, whenever the credits played, I realized that John Carl Buechler did the gore in this. And the gore was really good. And I really liked that this was something he was involved in. I thought he did a good job in this movie. I don't know if this is one of his first. I don't know when he started doing gore. But he did a great job in this movie. The gore is really good, and it really surprised me with how goofy the movie is and how great the gore is. So it did surprise me. And there's a lot of random shit that's just really funny besides her having the green eyes. Like, there's a scene where, like, the mom comes in and she's talking to the daughter, and the daughter is full demon, Susan, and like she turns around and she's got this weird demon face, and she's like, "I cannot save you now," and like she says it just like that, and it's so funny. It's so hilarious. And there is a character in this movie, a maid lady, and I don't want to say this, but I have to say this. She is a black maid lady because she mentions she has these hilarious lines, this maid lady, where she says a line like, "Mother, father, he got away," or she'll say, "Good googly boogly." Like, these are literal lines from the movie. They actually say this shit in the movie. And then there's a line, and this is why I had to say that she's a black lady, because she says in the dialogue, "I haven't been nervous since I've been black." And I just sat there and said, what? Did I really just hear that right? I haven't been this nervous since I've been black? What? Like, it's just, what? It's insane. And she also has quirky music, too, during, like, her scenes. She's not in the movie much, but that maid lady was really, really hilarious. And again, it's just a lot of very, very humorous things, which I think that it had to be intentional in some ways. Like, especially with the maid lady, with her lines. But the demon stuff, maybe they wanted it to be scary, but with the green covering over her eyes, it just makes it look so hilarious, unintentionally hilarious, that I don't know if anybody could take it seriously. It just cracked me up with this movie. This movie was so entertaining and so fun. I love that it had great gore, but I love that it had such a great sense of humor to it, whether it was intentional or not. This one really, really was awesome. I want everybody to go see this. If you haven't seen Mausoleum, it's free on Amazon Prime. That's how I watched it. Now, then, that's my review on Mausoleum, and thank you guys so much for watching.